Changing all four shocks on a 2015 Jeep Wrangler. A little bit of lube on the bolt. The lower shock bolts are 18 millimeters, so you'll want to get a socket and a wrench and take these off. Doesn't really matter which one you use on which side. Right there, it's pretty level. So now I can take that bolt out. Now watch what happens whenever I take the axle down. You can see the shock. You can see how much further it's dropping down. It's still dropping. Okay, so you want to be careful whenever you do this. Now it's all the way down, but also you have this brake line that's running down the side right here. That brake line starts stretching, so that's the reason why you don't want to just let the shock go whenever you've got it supported up in the air right here, because you'll stretch that brake line out. So if you pull that bolt out right there, all of a sudden that axle will drop down really hard, and it'll probably go down further than what it is right here, but you'll end up stretching and damaging that brake hose right there. So I'm going to go ahead and take the axle back up, basically getting it close to being level to where the shock will mount at, which is probably right in there. Take a 5/8, I believe 5/8 is like 16. Go ahead and take those bolts out from the top side. Once it's loose, you may be able to twist it out by hand, like I am here. You could also use a electric ratchet if you want, or air ratchet, either one. See, that bolt's down. Once it gets out that far, you can kind of wiggle it off and pull it out, because you'll be able to see that the top of the shock has a little H pattern bracket. Okay, so these are new Skyjacker shocks. If you look right here, they're kind of opposite of what the factory ones are. If you notice the mount right here, so if you spin this mount around, all of a sudden the rod is in here, but on the factory one, the rod is on the opposite side. I'm just going to put the shock right up in there and go in just like that. And I'm going to take the bolt that came out of it and reach up and start threading it in. We're going to go ahead and take the ratchet, screw this one in over here just slightly. So now that you have that mounting started, go ahead and align the bottom into its proper position. If this is twisted, it could be twisted like that. Doesn't really hurt or anything. Just twist it in the direction that you need to, and then slide it right up in there. If you need to move the axle, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and lift the axle slightly more with my jack over here. Okay, once you lifted it where it needs to be, slide that bolt straight in there like that. Snug it up right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten up this bottom one. Now I'm going to go ahead, go back up top and tighten up the top bolts. Now that's how you change out the rear shock on your Jeep Wrangler. You'll basically come over here and do the exact same for the driver's side. And now we're going to show you how to do the front ones. You'll have these bolts on the bottom, that one, and this one right here. And then up top you'll have a single bolt that you have to undo that's right above here on the top of the shock tower. But we'll go ahead and start on it. Alright, so if you get you a piece of block and get your bushing right there, just put it even with a block. The block's just basically keeping you from hitting against the ground. Just take your little rubber mallet, give it a nice hit, and you'll see it like that. Once you get it flush, you can see it's flush on the bottom right there. Just go off to the edge slightly, and you can see how it's just popped in. Now take your metal bushing in the center, put it against the block, push it down, and there you've assembled that. Now the other side is your top bushings. You'll put one washer on first, and it will be cupped towards the bushing. So you put it on like that, and then you'll put that on there. Then you'll put this through the hole where the upper mount is, and then you'll slide this through the top. Then you'll put the washer on like this, and then you'll tighten it down up here. And then that'll be an assembled shock. Now the front one did come with a boot also, so be sure to go ahead and put it on there. Pull the shock out. You should be able to pull it out by hand. It's going to be slow, but okay. So take the big end of the boot, slide it over, and then work it through the end right here. Just like that. And then the little groove that's on the inside of the boot right here will go around the washer-like surface on the end, just like that. Now, in the past, I see that these things don't really work too great. Sometimes I've pulled them up a little bit higher and then tried to put a zip tie on there. Okay, so you'll take the zip tie that should have came with the kit, and then you pull the boot down to the flat side. Basically just zip tie it together. Make sure that it's not up here above this lip right here. You want it to be down on this flat portion. Once it gets down there, just pull the zip tie tight. And once it gets as tight as you can pull it, you got some little extra there. Just take you a pair of dikes, pull it off, and now you're ready to install this shock on the front side. So on the front here, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of lube. I'm going to go to the top also and lube up the nut up top. Now the mounting bolt on the front should be the same size as the back, should be 18 millimeter. I'm just going to go ahead and loosen this. Again, the front will drop down once the shock comes out of position, so if you have the front end completely off the ground, you're going to want to support it. It's really not that hard to change these with the vehicle just on the ground. Just change the shocks so that they're on the ground. So you have to crawl underneath it. Most Jeeps have enough clearance to be able to do it sitting on the ground. Okay, so we're on the top side here, and if you follow the shock all the way up, you'll see a top nut on the side, top of the actual shock, and then you'll see a nut on top of the shock tower. It's hiding right back here. So you might have to put a wrench right here to hold it. You can use a 16 or like a 5/8 to go right in here, and then the same size up here. You just got to reach up here and grab a hold of it and start untightening. Now this one is definitely harder to do than the back ones, but once you get the socket in there, you should be able to start turning it. If you're up in the air, you're going to have tension right here. You want to raise the axle a little bit to take the tension off that top nut. If you're on the ground, then you should be able to just take it off from here, and it'll be a lot easier if you do it on the ground. I'm going to turn this around and use the ratchet portion of it. Sometimes it's kind of tough to get in here with the ratchet, but we'll see how it goes this time. Might be able to spin it like this. Alright, now once you get that far, you should be able to reach up here. I know it's kind of hard to see. Let's see, you should be able to reach right up in here and get that nut off. Okay, so once you get that nut out like that, you'll have the washer and the bushing from the top, just like that. Now coming from underneath, you'll see the shock go all the way back down to the bottom. It'll be really easy to just move the shock now, and to move the bolt, should be able to do it with just one hand. Pull that bolt out, and then you'll want to grab the shock so it doesn't fall on you. But go ahead and pull it out just like that, and then just lower it straight down. Now just turn right around extend your new shock all the way out. Once you have it together, go right back up. You'll want to make sure it lines up with the top hole. Find the hole up there, slide it right in there, and then come down here and put your bolt in the bottom. Go ahead and take your bottom bolt and slide it back in so that your shock doesn't fall. So once you get that bolt down there, you want to go up top and tighten up your top shock bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up with my hand. I'm going to get that bushing right in the hole where it's supposed to be. I'm going to throw the upper bushing on there, throw the upper washer on there, retaining nut up top. Now the nut on the new shock is smaller, it's a 9/16. I'll go ahead and stick the ratchet up in there and start tightening it. Once you've gotten the upper retaining nut tightened on your shock, go ahead and go to the bottom and tighten it up. Alright, once you get the bottom one snug, do the exact same thing on the passenger side. Now when you're putting the shocks back in, it's usually easier to just mount the front side or the top side first. Passenger side has a molding up in there, up inside the engine compartment, and I normally don't bother trying to take it out. What I do is I just put the shock up into position and I get it all ready to go in, and I'm just basically holding it with my hand, and I test fit it right there to make sure it's going in the joint. Then I take the top bushing and I slide it through the top side, and it's kind of hard to see, but up here I can see the upper bushing. So I get the upper bushing lined up with the shaft, and sometimes it's a little tricky. So right there I got the upper bushing lined up with the shaft, and I take my washer and I line it up, put it on top of the bushing, and then I'm going to take my nut and do the same thing. Then once you get the nut on, you can actually just spin the shock. Hold the nut with your finger like I am here, just make sure it's in the joint correctly. Get your wrench and hold it while you spin the bottom. Extremely tight because there's no room on the passenger side, so you can't get boxing in there. You'll have to get an open end, and it's going to be very tedious and slow. Alright, so once you get that nut completely tight, now you can move to the bottom and tighten up the bottom retaining bolt. Well, I hope the video helped someone out today. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for me. Like it, share it. Your situation may be different than my situation. Stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching again, everyone.